Where I'm currently at is not necessarily where I imagined. Hi. Yeah, so as you can see, the title of this video is Starting Over in Your 30s. And I wanted to create this to also kind of go into depth about where I'm currently at, right? If you watched my intro, then you know that I said that I started this channel to document where I'm at in life. And where I'm currently at is not necessarily where I imagined. And, you know, that is still a very beautiful thing, right? That, if you would have told me years ago that this is where my life would be, I would be very shocked and confused.
No
That's real,
way.
right? I would be very shocked, very confused, but the undoing and the essentially like the starting over has been a beautiful, clean slate. So, how did I get here, right? Like, where did it begin? So it started with a loss of income. Um, and then shortly after a loss of income, I lost my grandfather. Um, and really things began to unfold from there. And so at the time, we lived in California. Finances were growing incredibly tight. And we made the decision to go ahead and move back east. Um, that decision, it was a difficult decision, but it was necessary, especially for where we were at. And we do have children to consider. So, um, yeah, we made the decision to move back east. That is where we are both originally from. We had lived in California for about 9 years at the time. And yeah, moved back east into my grandfather's home. I want to preface that by saying that my grandfather was 92 when he passed, and he was living alone at the time. And so the house was not in the greatest of conditions. We really, really wanted it to work, but we were truly in over our heads with the repairs. I mean, given the financial situation that we were already in, to then move into a home that also required a lot of financial work, it was just honestly a recipe for disaster. And then we lost another income. So we, got there, got settled, started the the new cycles of everything, and then lost things very quickly. And so, it's all, I'm all for alignment, right? And I was like, okay, this is clearly lessons needed to be learned. There's that for sure. Lessons needed to be learned, and we needed to really collect pieces of ourselves, right? That we kind of left behind. So it was necessary. I like to call these periods of life character development, but it was extremely, extremely difficult. And the next thing I knew, we were in my sister's basement. Yeah. So, very humbling times that we're in right now. New city, not in our own space, starting over. We left quite a bit of familiarity back in California, and I had built my wellness business up to be pretty at a good point, right? And so to have to come to a new area and to start that over is not impossible, right? It's not impossible, but it is like, okay, right? In a way, it's like freeing because I get to like build it from the place that I'm at right now, going through all of that, all of those changes, it really does evolve you as a person, right? And so anything that I create from this point truly is going to have me create from a space of where my values currently are, right? When we go through traumatic things, right, or transformational moments, one thing that I always encourage my clients to do is to think about what their values are after that, right? Because oftentimes the values do change. And so um, it's a beautiful thing to be able to create from a space of newness and curiosity, and adventure, right? And openness. But it is still difficult at the same time. And so while I have this excitement for starting over now, I realize that starting over doesn't always start with excitement, right? Sometimes there is a lot of grief. Sometimes there is the grief not only of my grandfather, right, but the grief of the life that I thought that I was going to be living and the place that I thought that I was going to be living. And I'm telling you guys, I never thought that I was going to leave California. Like never. I was like, this is the best state ever. And I could literally go up and down I literally can go up and down the state and get all different types of experiences, experience all different type of weather, change the scenery. I mean, just honestly, I could go on. I could go on. I really could. So, talking a little bit about the grief period, right? I often thought to myself, right, because I'm all about spiritual alignment and, things, everything happening for a reason. And I just kept saying to myself, like, well, what am I doing here? What did I do wrong? Am I missing something? And truthfully, there was no way to think or logic my way through that situation, right? There there was no way to um shove myself right back into what I thought was alignment. It was more about like, no, this is necessary, right? This is so necessary. But as time has gone on, I have really learned to love the East Coast. I mean, I remember one of my favorite things, or one of the things that I will always say about the East Coast is the proximity, right, that you have to other cities and the proximity that you have to different cuisines. Just it's just honestly just a beautiful, beautiful place to be as far as culture goes. And like the experiences that my kids are now going to have, being closer to family that they've already have, being closer to family, it really has been the change that I never knew that I needed, right? And so I'm thankful, right, that I didn't plan for this. You know what I'm saying? I'm thankful that I didn't plan for this, but I'm also kind of like, wow, what a beautiful surprise. Still very much in the lotus phase, right? And so this channel is that, right? This channel very much is giving lotusy vibes, where we are literally growing through the mud, but we are going to be shining, baby. And it's I can see it, all right? I can see it, and when I think about the community, I just like my heart, right? My heart. So, another note, right, about grief and how it changes you and it encourages you to rethink your goals, what you want, where you're at, who you are. Um, it's like it's that curiosity, right? And that thinking really is a portal, right? It's a portal to a whole different timeline. And with that portal, right, if you get curious and you sit down with yourself long enough, you gain so much clarity. Like I honestly feel like really, there's really nobody that can tell me more like about myself. You know what I'm saying? Like I know who I am for sure, for sure. I know what I'm about. You know, I know my values. I stand 10 toes by them. I know my shadow. I'm happy with her. I love her. Um, and I thank God for the pause. I thank God for the redirection. And I still know there's a lot of unfolding to come. What am I leaving behind? Right? And that is another beautiful question. Some things that I'm leaving behind are the idea that my productivity and I believe this, but this is like it's important to really practice this that productivity is connected to my worth. That things have to be perfect, they have to be settled, they have to be, on the up and up in order for me to start, in order for me to begin. And those ideas, they never served me. They never did, right? In a sense of like where fortifying who I am and where I'm supposed to be going in life, right? So I really love that, right? I love that idea that no, here we are, right? Here we are on using my iPhone, right? No professional camera. But we're rocking out on YouTube right now, right? We have created a channel, right? No, I started creating my thumbnails and sometimes I like them, sometimes I'm like, right? But we're starting, right? And that is the important thing. We're starting, we're going, and as time goes on, just like anything that I've ever done in life, with time, with practice, I will get better. So I just also want to take a moment just to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, right? Thank you for not waiting to support me until like I have the fancy camera or I have the perfect lighting, right? Thank you for being with me here right now. Thank you for being here while I rebuild, while I restart, while I curate a beautiful, beautiful dream life. And it's not to say that my life has not been beautiful, right? Because it really has been. I'm truly blessed, even through everything. I left teaching at a wellness resort. I'm starting my business basically from scratch. Clients, building community again, learning this new version of myself. And while it is extremely terrifying, it is also very free. One of the first ways that I am changing and evolving is really through how I nourish myself. I love to turn to food for comfort. But I want to be very intentional, right? And maybe instead of grabbing, what is the name of those cookies that I really like? There's a vegan cookie brand that I really like. Instead of me going for them, right? Maybe instead I go for a fruit salad or a smoothie bowl. Something that is going to make me feel good physically down to the cellular level. And that's why you see that I have a lot of some raw vegan recipes and foods and things that I'm exploring. So if you're watching this, I want you to know that starting over does not mean you're failing. To start over takes courage. To choose to have belief, to have hope, to have faith after loss, after disappointments, after grief, you are still choosing to live, right? You are choosing to not let life happen to you, but let life happen for you. So maybe this season isn't about things ending, but about more so things beginning. Maybe this season isn't ending the way that you imagined. Maybe it's the foundation of everything that you've been asking for. So here is to rebuilding, here is to healing, here is to becoming. I hope that you realize what felt like the ending was actually the beginning. Anyway, thanks for sitting with me. Peace, love, Licia.